Hello, children. Good morning. How are you all? I hope you all are doing good. So, children, it's time for the literacy lesson now. Today, we are going to see how is the plain crazy put together. But before that, do you all remember what we did in our last class? Yes. In our last class, we talked about the structure and the plot of the story, wherein I told you about the background of the story, about the characters of the story, and about the setting of the story. Also, I gave you diary writing as a part of the homework. So, children, I have decided on something that from now onwards, you all will be writing a diary entry for yourself once a week, and that's really going to help you. I'll be checking on your diary entry any day. So, the next thing is, children, that today we are going to identify the structure of the story through Story Mountain. Now, what is this Story Mountain? Is it some piles of the story lying on a mountain? No, it's not like that. I'll show you what's a Story Mountain. So, children, this is how a Story Mountain looks like. It talks about the beginning and then slowly it moves to the climax, that is the most interesting point, and then it moves towards the end. Children, always remember one thing, that a good story will always have these three things in a proper sequence. Okay, children, a story mountain helps you in deciding on the essential points of the story before you begin to write. It always follow this beginning, middle, and the end rule. So a beginning is most of the times really calm, and then come the middle or the climax of the story, that is the highest point of the story, and then it comes to an ending, sometimes good, sometimes bad, with a moral of the story. Okay, children. So now the story mountain has got this 6 steps. First, it talks about the introduction to characters, then it talks about the opening of the story, then it talks about the problem of the story, then climax, then resolution, and then ending and moral. Now, do you all remember what happened in extract 1? How it all started? If not, then I'll tell you. The first paragraph of the extract 1 was as follows. It wasn't funny at the time. I got a real good tongue lashing, I can tell you. Birthday or no birthday, it wasn't even my fault. It was Birdie's my best mate, Nicholas Starling. That's his real name, but I call him Birdie. He always gets me into trouble, but he makes me laugh. So, children, do you think that the extract 1 of Plain Crazy talks about the introduction to characters? Do you think so? Yes. So I'm going to put a tick mark over here. Then, do you think so that extract 1 from Plain Crazy talks about the opening? Yes. Do you all remember that, where the main character, he made a statement that we are just crazy about aeroplanes, mainly Spitfires, as far as I remember. So yes, it talks about the opening of the story as well, and their great aunt Phil took them to watch a movie. Yes. Now the third step is the problem. Do you think so that there was any sort of problem in extract 1 Plain Crazy? It talks about some problem. No, it doesn't talks about any problem, but problem was soon to begin, where they have planned on making a dam. So yes, a problem was soon to begin. Does it talk about the climax of the story? No. Plain Crazy Extract 1 doesn't talk about the climax of the story. Does it talk about the resolution of the story? No. Does it talk about the ending and moral of the story? No. So children, this is forming the which part of the mountain? I'll show you. It talks about the introduction to characters, and then it's moving towards the opening, and the problem is going to start. So it talks about this part of the story mountain. From beginning till here we can see the climax is soon to come. Now let's have a look at the Plain Crazy Extract 2. Do you think it talks about the introduction to characters? Well, no. We have already talked about the characters in Extract 1. Do you think it talks about the opening of the opening? No. Do you think it talks about the problem? Yes. The problem has come, where the great Aunt Phil, burst into anger, and she comes to their house because her house was filled with water. Yes. Do you think it talks about the climax of the story? Yes, it does talk about the climax of the story, resolution of the story as well, and the ending of the story as well, where the main character and the body cleaned Aunt Phil's house, great Aunt Phil's house. So it forms this part of the story mountain wherein we have reached the climax and then we move to the end of the story. So children, this was a small activity for you. Now I've got some other activity for you as well. Have a look at this. Children, this reads as the bones of the story. So from this, the sentences are jumbled over here from the Plain Crazy Extracts 1 and 2. You have to sequence them. That is the first thing. And the second thing is, you have to read these sentences again and again. And every time you read, you have to eliminate the two statements which you believe are not essential, and without them the story would make sense otherwise also. I repeat, you have to read these sentences again and again, and every time you read, you have to eliminate the two statements which you believe are not essential, and without them the story would make sense. Repeat it until you get down to 6 key statements that tells the essential parts of the story. Okay children, this is one activity for you, and now you'll be looking at your own decided statements and try to plot them on the story mountain. I shall be forwarding you the story mountain activity sheet, and you have to plot these statements on the story mountain. So that's all for today children. I hope you all enjoyed the lesson. Thank you. Have a nice day.